Hello, my name is Billy Nash, and today we'll be doing a Microsoft Excel tutorial on index match functions. And what you can use an index match function for is to look up a value in a table by setting some search parameters. And an index match function is actually two separate functions. There's the match function part of it and the index function part of it. And a match function will basically look up a value in a row or column and give you an orient value or an approximate value, and I'll kind of show you what that means here in a sec. And an index will look up or give you a value based on the row and column values that you give it. So we can start building we'll start building our function by doing our first match function. And each one of these index functions, there'll be two match functions inside of the index functions. And it sounds a little strange right now, but I'll explain it all as I go, and you'll kind of see at the end what I'm talking about. So we'll start by doing our first match function, and we'll do equals match, match. We'll select match. We'll do our formula builder so we can see what we're doing a little better. And first it asks us for our lookup value. So for this match function, we're going to have it match the name of our salesperson. So we want the lookup value to be here, where we will type the name, because then it'll look up the value for that name in our lookup array. And that lookup array we want to be all of our salespeople. So we'll highlight the salespeople, not the title, but just the people. And then match type. Now match type, you can give it down here. It'll kind of explain it, but basically we're going to do a 0, and a 0 will give us an exact match. So if we type in Bob, we want it to match only with ones that say exactly Bob. So we'll type 0. And we'll hit enter. And it gives us no answer right now because we don't have a name in here. And this is where I'll show you about that orient value that the match function gives your lookup value. So if we type, let's do Jane, it gave us 2. And what that 2 means is basically that in this column of our salespeople, Jane is the second one. So I'd assign that 2. So if we did, say, Tom, it gave us 3. If we did Bob, it gave us 1. So you can kind of see now what the match is doing. It's just assigning a value to the name in the lookup array you have selected. So we have that match function done now. And so now let's do our second one for the month. And we'll do again equals match. Select the match. Our lookup value this time will be our month over here. So we'll click this cell where we're going to type our month eventually. Our lookup array will be this row going across, highlighting all the months. And then again, we want an exact match. So we will put 0. And now it's saying name. So we're gonna have to put something in. So let's just do March or Mar. Oh, that didn't seem to work. What, I have an issue here. That's it. I put an O, not a 0. There we go. Just a bit of a typo. So now we see it gives us 3, and up there in our row there, March is the third value. Again, if we switched it to say December, it would give us 12. So we got Bob and Bob at December. So we're going to just delete the names and date or month for now. And now we're going to finish the function. And we're going to start it by doing the index. Index. Select that. And here it's just going to ask. It's going to ask us select the arguments, and we're going to want to, for this example, do the array, row, and column number, because we're just going to, our array will just be selecting a table. We're not going to reference anything. So for this one, we're just going to use our selected array and then an assigned row number and assigned column number. So click OK. And now over here, now let's build our function. So it'll say array, and this is going to be our table we want to look up the values in. And this, for our example, we want to look up the sales. So we're going to select all the sales, and that'll be our array. And now our row number, we want, so it's asking for which row number do we want, row number, we want it to assign, we want that to give us, so that's asking which name do we want it to look up. And for this case, we want it, whatever name is in here. So if we simply click on that cell where it gives us our value, our orient value for each name. So when we type in a name, the value will come in there, and then it recognizes that value in our index function. So we have that, or at least so now it will be searching, when it searches for our salesperson, it'll get a value for that. And now we'll do it for the month, and we want the month value. Now press enter, and click out of here, and sorry. Now press enter. Now it's giving us NA in that, or no answer again, because we don't have any values in here. But now let's fill in our thing here. Let's go Bob for, just make it simple, January, gave us 123. So is that right? Bob for January? Yep, it's 123. And now I'll kind of explain what's going on here. So our index match here, it's looking in this cell of all of our sales for the values. That's where it's pulling its values from, and now it's matching, or now it's taking its row, or it's looking for a row number, and we're giving it a row number by 1 because we match that to Bob. Bob's matched with 1, and then it's looking for a column number, and it's getting 1 because that's what we put in January, and January's column number is 1 within the match function. So that's kind of what's going on here, if that makes sense. And what we can do also is we can, instead of having it broken out like this, if you don't want these numbers over here, we can take our function by highlighting it and copying it and inserting it into here. So instead of just having it pull the value from right here, it'll have the function, paste it right in there, it'll have the function built into it. So it doesn't need to look up that value, it does it all on its own now, or without having an extra cell. And then press enter, we can go in and copy the other function, excuse me, and replace it here. And now we have it all in one neat package. So we could have done that from the start, typed it in like this, but it's just a little easier to break it out that way, so you kind of get a better idea of what it's actually doing, how it's looking up those orient values for the row and column numbers. So if we kind of play around with it, if we want Joey for April, so we can see our function does work. And with this type of function, you can get messed up. As you see, I typed a 0 or an O where it could have been a 0. So that's a potential pitfall. There's a lot of things you have to enter into the function, I guess, and you could easily make a typo or just miss something in there. That's a function. And another one would be with names and text. You could get something where maybe someone's named Bobby Joe, and it picks up the Joe in Joey. And that can happen if you don't have your match function set to an exact match. It could, and just an approximate one, which I believe would be 1. You could pull in a name that you might not want because it's a similar name. And with months too, like here I have it just the first 3 they're the abbreviated months. If maybe you typed in, for whatever reason, that could be an issue if you were searching with the whole month typed out, or had it up here, or just searched it with an abbreviation. It just, with text, it can be a little finicky. But that's all we have today for index match functions. Thank you.